to Desire Made Real, a Discovery of Witches podcast, where we recap every episode of the television show, semi-spoiler free, except not really anymore. I am one of your hosts, Mandy Kay, and when I am not talking about Matthew and Diana, I am binge-watching Sister Wives to catch up on it.
I just shook my head at you.
I know.
And I'm Caitlin, and when I'm not talking about A Discovery of Witches, I'm still reading the same book I was last week because I'm having trouble getting through it.
Uh-oh.
Yay. Which was The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. But
oh no.
Well,
that's right.
It's not that I'm having good. It's just I don't care about a single one of the characters, you know?
Life is too short to read books that you're not enjoying.
Oh no, I'm enjoying everything else about it. The world building, the kind of like what the heck is going on, the magic science-y system they have going, that's really interesting. I just hate everyone. So I'm hoping eventually maybe we don't hate everyone.
Okay. All right.
So that's where that is. So each week here on the show, we'll recap the episode, non-spoiler free at all. We'll also include a segment at the end. We haven't been doing that. I'm just going to skip. Blah, blah, blah. Episode 7 was written by Helen Rayner and directed by Jamie Donahue. And this is the very last episode.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's the last episode. And oddly enough, it's like my shortest notes from the whole season. It's
interesting.
Weird.
I guess, this one did a lot less jumping around.
Yeah, it did. It wasn't like, quick, we're here, and then we're here, and then we're here, and then we're here. It was just like, I mean, a lot of stuff happens.
Yes, but it was a lot of longer scenes.
Yeah, so my notes, shortest notes from the season. It's weird. But this episode is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I watch this episode, I get goosebumps at the end, and I'm just happy and smiley, and I love it. And I think this is one of the best series finales ever. Oh dear, you don't think so?
No, I'm just thinking because I would tend to agree with you. The thing for me is I don't usually make it to a series finale. I have very little. I actually do not watch that much TV. And just the TV that I do watch, I watch it hard, if that makes any sense.
And you podcast about it.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like almost every show that I bother to watch, I have a podcast about. It's not quite that bad, but, I'm more of a movies and books person.
Yeah.
TV doesn't really do it for me usually, unless it's based on something that I love.
Yeah. That's fair.
So I can't remember the last time I made it to a series finale. So kind of by default, this one is the best one.
Okay. All right.
I do like that they didn't decide to make more, that they just got it to the end and that was that.
Yeah.
And they didn't drag it out. As much as I think you absolutely could have made 10 to 15 episodes, seasons for each book because they're so long. I like how they condensed books 1 and 2 especially. I think book 3, they absolutely could have used another couple episodes, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry.
So there are some bits in this episode that happen very, very quickly and are very anticlimactic. But, we'll talk about it more when we get there because I'm talking about Benjamin. Mm-hmm. But it really, that's the point, I think. So it worked. I think everything about this episode just worked for me, and the way they did the whole series is just phenomenal. I mean, yes, it does have a lot of differences from the book, but given that it is an adaptation, the choices that they made work well together.
Yeah.
And they still told the same essence of the story that Deborah Harkness was telling.
I agree.
I think it was phenomenal, and this was a great end to it. So, shall we dive in?
Let's do it. And this way we won't just say good things about it.
Right?
Let's nitpick the bitch. Okay. We get another dramatic entrance from Baldwin. I mean, everybody's really worried, but that doesn't matter. We get dramatic entrance.
We do. It's fantastic. I love this whole opening scene because this is like action movie level stuff happening here. This is like command central. Everybody's got their parts to play. Baldwin comes in, and then it's just like that. Even Marcus is spouting off orders. It's fantastic.
I don't know if I like it until Baldwin gets there and it turns into like a proper conversation. I don't know. It just didn't rub me the right way. Nothing,
Okay.
nothing that I can put my finger on. I will
All right.
say, when Baldwin does walk in, Hamish and Marta walk in behind him, which definitely means no one's watching the twins. Which I guess they might be asleep, but
I'm sure they're sleeping. I'm sure they're
I don't know. When Marta wasn't there, I was like, great, somebody is with the babies.
sleeping.
But then she walked in and I was like, nobody is with the babies.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the reveal, like, instantaneously that Baldwin is there because Diana asked him to come. And I love that he immediately understands what's happening as soon as, like, he just has to see like 5 seconds of the video to know that's Philippe's watch. Shit. Benjamin was part of that. And that must be there in Poland at the hospital where Philippe was tortured. Like, lots of dots had to be connected and he did it very quickly. And it just worked for me. It didn't feel like a super big plot contrivance.
Yeah, Baldwin does sort of always seem like he has his shit together
Yeah,
in that sort of way.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also really like that in this scene, he kind of sucked up his pride and it immediately admits that he knew that Gerbert has been orchestrating Benjamin and like the de Clermont downfall for centuries.
Well, I mean, he just learned that, so he wasn't like keeping it secret from them the whole season.
Right. No, but it would have been very easy for Baldwin to sit on that information for a little while and
Yeah,
let his pride come first.
I guess.
But I think at the end of the day, and Baldwin proves this in this episode, it really is the family that's the most important to him. It's just what we've seen so far is that he didn't have the whole story and he was using the information that he had. And so he thought he was right.
I agree with you. I still don't think they quite earned Baldwin's about face in this episode. Like, it doesn't quite feel like it feels to me like a bit of a leap that he would go just straight from this is all wrong to yes, I support you, here I'll do all this stuff to help you.
Well, so I think what it is, though, is that I think regardless, he would have done what he could to help Matthew. I do believe that he would have tried to help rescue Matthew. And so, like, there's two separate things happening in this episode. There's that, like, that he shows up to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole congregation stuff happens because he listens to what Diana has to say and understands the truth of it. And that knocks him down a peg or two. I wish we could have seen a little bit more of that because all of that stuff at the end does happen very quickly.
Yeah. I can't
But
even really say what it is because, again, they have the conversation here. We know he learned that Gerbert has been manipulating him and had a hand in Philippe's death. We know that, he has that great talk with Matthew later, which I do really like. But I still just felt like it wasn't, like it was such an about face for him. And even
yeah.
here at the beginning, he doesn't just say, yeah, I'll come help. He says, like, absolutely, 100%, let's go. I'm like, why are you all of a sudden so on board with them? I don't know. I don't disagree with anything that was written. It just didn't quite click with me in the feels.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Then we get the opening credits.
Oh, I skipped that and just have some fun torture. That's my next note.
Yeah, Benjamin and Matthew. Matthew's praying, which
I
is
guess
a nice callback to, that's been kind of a touch in the whole thing that Matthew is, even as a vampire, he's still Catholic and still has his faith.
Yeah, I guess we haven't really touched on that this season very much.
Mm-mm.
And then Gerbert shows up to talk to Isabeau. And like,
Talk about dramatic.
I understand why the writing team wanting them to have this conversation after Isabeau learning that he had a hand in Philippe's death. But why is Gerbert there? What was his motivation? Did they call him? Did he just turn up? Why is he there? What did he want?
I have a theory.
Okay.
I have a theory. I think Gerbert is secretly in love with Isabeau.
Sure. I can get behind that because he's super fucking creepy here. But why is he there? What made him wake up one day in Venice and think to himself, I'm going to go visit Isabeau? Like, what?
He's completely delusional and still somehow thinks that he has the power in all of this. And I think he honestly believed he was trying to save Isabeau. Like, he's trying, like, because he went there to say, if you give me the children, the congregation will be lenient with you.
I guess, but how did he know everybody else wasn't there?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. I didn't even think of that.
And is it here that he knows Diana has the Book of Life? Yeah. How does he know that? How? What? Like, don't get me wrong. I like the scene. I like that it's here. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I can't believe you didn't mention his dramatic coat removal, though.
That was just him being a rude fucker, though. Like, whatever. That's just your bear. But yeah, it was pretty the way he just, like, stared her down, too. Like, fucking asshole.
Yeah, but can we talk about how badass Isabeau is? Like, she does not bat an eye at him. She's just like, go back to Venice. It's fantastic.
I am glad that we got to see them talk with her having the information that he had a hand in Philippe's murder. Why she didn't murder him, I don't know. I mean, right? I guess, like, writing-wise, obviously, it's so that he can be at the congregation later. But, like, Isabeau-wise, just snap his fucking head off. Like, who cares?
Right? You just found out that he killed your mate. Or he had a hand in it. He orchestrated it.
Yeah.
So, and Gerbert now knows that she knows that, which is interesting, but I don't think he really cared.
And I guess just before he left, he says, I gave you every chance. And it's like, as though the chances are his to be given. Like, fuck off, Gerbert. I hate you.
Yeah, no, he somehow is, he's as delusional as Satu is.
Yeah.
About who the main character is in this story.
Yes.
Then we go back to Poland and we get that awesome scene of Miriam kicking in the door.
Miriam power shot. That's what I wrote down.
Yes, I love it. Like she did not need to do it. It does nothing, but it makes me happy when I see it.
Even just her stepping out of the helicopter looking all awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for gifting us with that.
And that black duster that she's wearing.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I kind of want to cosplay as Miriam.
How could you ever find clothing as good as hers, though, you know?
Like, I don't think I could. But it's fantastic.
I think you have to be rich to look like Miriam, unfortunately. It's great that I fully support your efforts.
Okay. I found this interesting. When they walk in, the vampires can hear heartbeats, and they recognize that there are two vampires and a warm blood present, which I think is unexpected. They didn't expect there to be a warm blood. They just thought it would be Matthew and Benjamin.
Which is stupid, because they knew he was kidnapping witches. Like, where are the witches that he kidnapped? Are they dead?
Right? Yeah.
Did he
my first watch through, I thought, oh, they're hearing his victims, like his witch victims. And then that's not what it was. But that was my first reaction. So, yeah, they just kind of hand waved all of that stuff away.
I mean, I don't hate it. Why have more torture in an episode with a good amount of torture? But
yeah, that's true.
It I don't know. I would like a little bit of sense with my fluff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's fine. I get it. My only note here is creepy.
This whole place is creepy. The set is creepy. It's like in an abandoned World War II era hospital in Poland. Like, it does not get creepier than that, I don't think.
Out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Very Blair Witch.
Very much so.
Except actual vampires and witches.
Right? So when they go in, like, Diana uses her magic to turn on the lights so they can see what's happening, and Matthew is there. They see Matthew tied up to a table. His heart is exposed and it's beating, and he's just, like, begging them to kill him, and everybody wants to rush forward and rescue him, and Diana's like, no, wait. And my first thought was, like, why is Diana asking them to wait? Like, what? But somehow she recognizes and figures out that this is an enchantment. And this isn't real. And she dispels it. And so then they start looking for other things. And they start to hear babies crying. And, like, then Satu starts calling for Diana. I was having a hard time, like, kind of understanding what I was hearing, because there were a lot of sounds overlapping each other in this scene.
And I think she was just taunting her. Like,
I think the important part here is that once Diana realizes that Satu is there, that's when she puts up the wall so that the others can't get through. And she says, this is my battle.
Yes.
Because she knows that they can't beat Satu.
Yes. Which I suppose this is, like, the biggest difference I find, or the biggest feeling difference. I don't even know how to describe between the book and the show, because she locks them all out. Why even bring them? Like, I love how in the book things happened in a different order, right? They did the congregation thing before going after Benjamin. And because they felt that they needed more people to have everyone on their side, and I think there was more witches and stuff around. They needed, like, I don't want to be over dramatic and say army, but something to that effect. But in
Right.
this one, it's just like, nope, I am the one woman army.
Right? Yes, she is.
Yeah, I don't disagree with this as a choice. It is visually better because we just have to follow one character.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't help but think, like, why are they even there then? Like, I don't know.
Well,
It's
I mean,
weird.
because when they thought it was just going to be Benjamin, like, I mean, they outlined it at the beginning. They needed a vampire with them who was skilled in combat. That's why Galaglass and Miriam came, because that's what they thought they were going to be doing. But when she realized it was Satu, that's a completely different kind of fighting. Like,
Yeah,
that's not
yeah,
combat anymore. That's magic.
that's fair. That's fair. And then she walks into another room, and there's another illusion.
This one is the freakiest. This is the scene, like, Matthew's eyes are weird here. Like, I actually had to look up what color are Matthew Good's eyes actually,
Oh,
because they always look really, really dark. And
mm-hmm,
when he does Blood Rage, they're always like black.
mm-hmm.
But his eyes are actually blue.
Yes.
But you don't ever actually see them that like super light blue that they were here. And it freaked me out because it just did not look right.
I did not notice his eyes. I was very much in my head about how Setu would have any idea what the cradles look like to make that illusion.
Oh.
But that matters not at all. Like, it could have been other
Yeah.
cradles. It doesn't matter at all. It's just they didn't want to get different set pieces. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I my notes here definitely show that you have inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
My notes say Satu realizes she's definitely not the main character, but can't handle it.
See, my note here when they start talking is still so sure she is the main character.
Yeah.
Because,
That's not your destiny. It's mine.
yeah, like, what the fuck? Like,
Like,
I am
like literally, the
so,
book is in Diana. It's
yeah,
already done.
as though she was just the transport. And I'm very curious about what Setu was thinking going into all this. Like, what did she want to do with Diana? What was her end goal before she knew that the book was in Diana? Just to open her up again and steal her power? How I don't know.
Well, I mean, she wanted the book. And then
But
I think once she realized the book was in Diana, she wanted to open Diana up again.
yeah.
Not realizing somehow that she has no power here anymore.
I do like Satu's fate, that she just gets spellbound. Diana doesn't even
Mm-hmm.
bother to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous.
She
Spellbound
deserved
and
it.
then pretty much forgotten. Like, thanks.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah. After Diana shuts Satu down, she goes for Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a split second when he realizes she's coming,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks terrified.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Interesting.
It's just a split second because then the next time we see him, he's allowing the blood rage to take over.
Oh, okay.
But I think that helped, like his fear helped the blood rage come out.
That's interesting. That maybe that's how he does it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wish we had time to
I
dive
liked
into
it.
these things.
I loved this, and this is one of those goosebump scenes because Diana she instantly knows what she's going to do when she gets there, and so we get all of the flashback scenes as she's counting up to 10 for the knots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the first time she's used the 10th knot, and like he doesn't get it. Like, he doesn't get anywhere close to her. She just takes him out, and he just fades to ash.
Yes, I do really like this scene. I like how it calls back to everything and how like how she uses an arrow again, like she did in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
But like you've did you say this before on recording, off recording? I don't even remember. But you pointed it out before how like it's more she has the arrow and the bow more together, I guess, than she did in season 1, where she was just kind of like, arrow.
Right? Yeah, I know. She knew what she was doing
Yeah.
here.
So I do love that juxtaposition. I don't think they quite earned it, just because we haven't seen her trying to figure out the 10th knot. We haven't seen her working on it. She had that one brief conversation with Sarah. Like, I guess if you were just watching the show, I don't feel like that scene really is much of anything. Having read the books, I really, really love it. But if you hadn't read the books, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it would be that much. they haven't done much of it.
Well, I feel like if you haven't read the books, then it's really easy to assume that because she has the book in her now, that she can do anything. Like, that's where the power's coming from. And a lot of it is. But I
Yeah.
think it's not confusing for someone who's only watched the show because they can, like, internalize that. Like, that's where the power's coming from.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think it's confusing. I just don't think I think it just kind of came out of nowhere. Is more.
Yeah, because we haven't really seen her fight with her power much. I mean, we've seen her go against Baldwin a couple times, but that's it.
Yeah, I just think, if I'm remembering correctly, I could be wrong, but in book 3, she tried to work on figuring out what the 10th knot was for a good chunk of it. And so when she figured it out, and it was all more in her head when she figured it out, and I guess that's what I miss. I miss being in her head.
Yeah.
For all of this.
There was a line, I guess, last week. I think it was last week, where she said to Sarah about the 10th knot that she could feel it inside of her.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just their way of distilling all of that down.
No, I know. And I know that they didn't really have much choice. There's so much going on. They've got 7 episodes. This isn't really a critique. I'm just nitpicking.
Yeah. I think the most surprising thing here is how quickly Benjamin died. Like, there was no fight. It was very anticlimactic when he's been, quote unquote, seemingly the big bad of the season.
I love this decision, though.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's fantastic because this is not Benjamin's story.
Yep.
Benjamin is not and never has been the actual enemy that they're fighting. They're fighting the decline of the creatures. Like, that's what started this whole thing. And we kind of lost sight of that a little bit.
The decline and the segregation of the creatures being the big bads. I love that they made that choice because it's just not the obvious choice for a visual medium. And I think they did it so well. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's part of why I really enjoy the choice they made to invert the timeline.
Yes.
To have Benjamin's death come first and then have her go to the congregation.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Right, because Benjamin's death in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So I enjoy this a lot.
And then, so he's dead. They get Matthew. And much like Diana's torture in season 1, they really toned down how hurt he was and how much it affected him mentally. Which I get for a TV show, makes total sense. And I love that we kind of we see that he's hurt and then people are worried, but that we do quickly move on with the story. It's interesting that it happened to both of them, I guess.
Yeah. I didn't do any digging here. Hamish is reading aloud and his voiceover is on top of this montage of stuff. So what is he reading?
He is reading Sonnet 6 by I've never heard this name said out loud, so I don't know if I'm saying it right. Rainer Maria Rilke.
Okay.
An Austrian poet who wrote in German, and I believe this was translated by Edward Snow.
Okay.
The version I found online is translated.
Got it.
So yeah, it's a sonnet by a Austrian poet.
Okay. I mean, it's good. I love listening to his voice and listening to him read. And I guess they just needed something over the montage of everybody waiting to see if Matthew's going to wake up.
I liked it better than a song. And I liked that it was Hamish. I love Hamish's voice. He read it very well, and I love that we got their friendship in all of this. And then, after Matthew's better, they're playing chess again. I like that a lot.
I have to say that Moncur, when Matthew wakes up, is the best sound. When he wakes Diana up, it's good. It's so good.
It was very good. I liked it a lot, and I like that here and for the rest of the episode, his hair is just kind of a mess.
Yes,
as if he just sort of stopped caring, and I'm like, yep, I like it.
Yeah. I think that's their nod to the fact that he is not
100%.
His body is healed, but he is not.
Yeah.
It's going to take time. Then we get some science again. And the amazing thing that they learn here is that they all have demon DNA.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
I do love how they really squish this down, but they managed to get it out there. Matthew does call their kids Brightborn here, but it is a throwaway line that I'm sure non-book readers miss, so they are never going to make
Hmm.
that connection. But
Right.
whatever. And I love that it all came out and that we did. I remember in season 1 not being sure how they were going to follow through with the sciencey bits.
Hmm.
So I do like how they followed it through. They don't really go into how they can't cure blood rage because they need it. Like, we've only seen blood rage as a bad thing, I feel, in this show.
Hmm.
I mean, we have Jack healing from it and working on it so that you don't have to murder people with the blood rage, but they don't talk about how having the blood rage gene within the vampires helps them and how that's like having the demon DNA, the vampires need it in order to like that's why they're having trouble siring because they have not been having the demon DNA in them. And they
Right.
killed off
I
all
feel like,
the I don't know.
yeah, they were clear that they needed the demon DNA, but they didn't make that link to that means we need vampires with blood rage. Right.
Yes.
Like they didn't connect those two dots in the show.
Yeah.
Um, but it was pretty clear that the covenant is what's destroying them because
Yeah.
they have to stay separate so that demon DNA is no longer in their lines.
And
Um,
yeah. And it's I like how they did it, but I guess I just wish there was a little bit more. But again, I think I'm just being like book loyalist about it. I think it's
yeah.
fine.
I mean, I think there's always room for more,
Yeah.
honestly. Always. But the choices that they made, I think, work really well. When Diana learns this information, she immediately wants to take it to the congregation. And of course, Baldwin pushes back.
Yeah.
But he pushes back because the congregation has been out for her blood, and he believes that she's going to be treated like a criminal and executed if she goes to the congregation.
Yes.
And I appreciate that nice bit of change from him, right? Considering that not too long ago, he was asking to assess the children and bring them to the congregation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. I guess maybe he's met them now and I don't know.
Yes, that's
I'm
true.
sad we never like I know we get to see him holding one of them later and I will talk about that then. But we
Mm-hmm.
never really get to see him meet the children, which I am sad about because his
Yeah,
relationship with them is one of my favorite things in the books.
yeah, yeah. He takes to them in the books for sure.
Well, he takes to Rebecca, but yeah. Well, I'm sure he has nothing against Philip either, but
Then we get that conversation between Baldwin and Matthew, which is really nice.
I do really
I
like it. Yes.
wish it was a little bit longer, but these 2 centuries old stubborn men can say a lot of things without saying a lot of things.
Yeah, I love that Baldwin admits that he was jealous, that he thought,
Hmm.
that he genuinely thought Philippe liked Matthew more and all these like he doesn't say that quite in quite so many words, but that's what it is. And that
Yeah,
they do
yeah,
finally have a good heart to heart here. It's really good.
yep, yep. He admits that Matthew was right and that he should have trusted him. And then Baldwin is the one who comes up with the idea to get Diana into the congregation.
Yep.
It's fantastic. And then my next note is Newt. My next note is just Diana suits up.
It's so good. I love the visual of bringing, all the seasons together because of how her outfit is kind of like a modern day Renaissance outfit, like
Hmm.
or Elizabethan outfit. And I love the bit of like the idea of bringing Diana's different lives together. Like it's so smart and so
It's
very well done
and beautiful.
and beautiful.
And she's
Yes.
got those earrings on again and those amazing shoes.
Yes.
And that jacket is definitely a callback to her season 2 clothes.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic.
Yeah. I've no notes, just perfection.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Then we go to Venice, and my note is Gerbert's so fucking smarmy.
See, I've skipped over that and I just wrote down Agatha's smile is so good.
Yeah. Even like everybody's face when
Hmm.
she reveals why she's there is priceless. Like Domenico,
Yeah.
just kind of like when he walks over to put his key in her hand, he's just kind of like tiptoeing and like kind of gently
I,
sets it in there. Like, I'm not dealing with this right now. I love it. I
I
love
don't
it.
know why or how I've come to enjoy Domenico so much, but I do. I
Hmm.
just,
I
every
do
time he's
too.
on screen, so good. I wish that actor many, many good things. He's so, like, such
Absolutely.
a small, almost nothing role, and he did so good with it.
Yeah. We do. We talk about Domenico in almost every episode.
All the time. He's always enjoyable. Even if he's being an ass, I find him to be really good. I don't know. Anyways, that's all.
So in this scene, Gerbert immediately tries to take over and be in control.
Yep.
And Diana is not having it. And I love it. She is full of confidence. And she just ignores everything that he says and gives her own spiel. And she speaks her truth. And of course, Gerbert still tries to say it's a lie, blah, blah, blah. But she's just ignoring him. And I don't think Gerbert is accustomed to being ignored.
I love it. We should ignore him more.
Agreed.
At one point, he crosses himself when, like, describing what a witch she is. And, like, you're a vampire. You spend all the time with, like, fuck off.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
What an ass.
We do have a quick cutscene between Jack and Matthew.
Yes.
Which is very sweet. Matthew is doing some stonework, which we will see later. But that's also a nice callback to his human life because he was a stonecutter. And, you know, Jack returns the miniatures to Matthew. And they end the scene with Matthew saying, "I love you, Jack." And Jack says, "I love you, too."
And at the beginning of the scene, Matthew said, "I'm proud of you."
He did. He did. So seeing two grown men say they love each other in a non-romantic way is just amazing. And it needs to happen more often on television.
Yep. No notes. Perfection.
Yeah. Perfection.
Okay, I absolutely love. We cut back to the congregation and Agatha just like sums up the previous scene for us.
Yeah.
It's so she's like, okay, Diana said this, Gerbert said this, but we have to vote on this because then this and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, thanks, Agatha. You just laid it all out there for the audience.
Yep. Absolutely. Everybody but Gerbert votes to overturn the covenant.
Is it everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was everybody. Before that, Gerbert does have a line where he says, I don't know if he uses her name, but he says, Diana's crimes are legion. Like, what a fucking drama queen. She is. Like, he seems to be personally insulted. And I'm like, she has done, I don't think you've ever even seen her before today. Like, calm the fuck down, Gerbert.
Yeah. I liked that, though, because that was before they voted. Because when he said that, the other vampire, the bald one, said, but if we do vote to repeal the covenant, then all of those crimes would be pardoned.
That's a witch.
Oh, that's a witch?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I keep thinking that's a vampire.
No, there's only two vampires, Domenico and Gerbert, because Diana's
you're right. Because you're right. See, I don't always pay attention. But then, after they overturn the covenant, Diana speaks up that they need a new leader, someone who has not, always had the power and the privilege, and she nominates Agatha. And Domenico seconds it.
Yes. It's so beautiful. Good. And I love this speech because I remember the first time I was watching it, I was like, it's a good speech, but like, come on, Diana, you are a rich white woman. You're going to be fine. But then at the end, when she gives it over to Agatha, I was like, never mind, you got it. You understood.
Right? Yes. Yes. And once again, they all vote for her except for Gerbert. But the best moment is when Agatha votes for herself.
Yes.
And she giggles, and I love it. I love it.
And I love how much we see Gerbert's face, because you can just see all of his, like, his 100 centuries, millennia, I don't know, like, ambition just drifting away. And it's so good. And I'm, like, sad that he doesn't get murdered, but also I do love that he loses everything still.
Yeah, I almost think this is better because what happens here is Diana just turns and walks out. Everybody else in the congregation has gathered around Agatha and they're congratulating her and they're talking about all this stuff. And we get Gerbert just standing by himself.
Yeah.
In the corner, being ignored. Like, he has lost everything. Like, he walked into that room thinking that he was king of the world, and it just all crumbled. And I love it.
Yeah, it was good. Though, again, he doesn't really get, like, punished.
I mean, there's no consequences for him at this point, but
I feel like
he's essentially stripped of power, so... But he is still on the congregation.
Yeah, I do wish more bad things had happened to him, but whatever. I really love how this is Diana's moment and Matthew just isn't even there.
Yes.
Because I do feel like the story is Diana's story. Matthew is just kind of along for the ride. But because of the way that it works, we've had so much vampire stuff this season. So I just really love that Diana gets this moment for herself.
Mm-hmm. Then we get what is my favorite scene from the entire season.
Yes.
Matthew's doing the voiceover behind it, and we get this montage. Sophie and Nate and the baby get to come back.
Yeah.
Marcus and Phoebe are engaged. We see what Matthew was working on. He made the memorial for Hugh, like actually recognizing him as a de Clermont again, and that Fernando was his mate, and so they're both in the family. And Fernando's face when he sees it just gets me every time. Literally sitting here talking about this and remembering it, I have goosebumps again.
Yes.
Every time I watch this scene and hear Matthew's voice over this whole thing, it just gets me emotionally.
And I really love, I might cry again, because I did cry when watching this.
I did too the first time.
I love when we're seeing Fernando see the plaque. Mm-hmm. In the voiceover, Matthew says, right the wrongs of the past. And I think that that's a good theme through this show, and I just liked it. I really liked it.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
Almost directly after that, though, Matthew and Gallowglass have the most awkward bro handshake of all time. I guess it's in slow-mo, but like Matthew's hand is up there waiting for like a good second, and it's so awkward.
I didn't even notice. My note is just Gallowglass says a proper goodbye this time.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
I didn't notice the awkwardness. I was just
I think it was in slow-mo or
yeah, maybe.
It looks like somebody went in for a high five and then was left hanging, like it's just so awkward.
Yeah. And then we get the line.
Yes, and I love that they had the new beginning part over a scene with Jack and the babies.
Yes.
That was so good.
Yes. I know when I watched this the first time, I texted you immediately in all caps. In every ending, there's a new beginning, because we have been waiting. Like we both loved that they did this in every episode of season 1.
Yes.
They had that line, and we adopted that line as our sign off for the podcast. And then we haven't had it since season 1. And so for them to end the show with it, like it makes me happy.
It was really good.
And then we get to see that new beginning.
Yeah. But we also get Diana sitting at Philippe's desk, and I love that so much.
Yeah. I can only assume she's rewriting the book. Is that what she's doing there?
Oh, I have no idea. I genuinely didn't even try to see what was happening there. I was just like, Diana's at Philippe's desk, because it's like her office now, and I love that so much.
And then we end with Diana and Matthew dancing the tango.
Yes. Which, as we'll all recall, is exactly how I wanted season 3 to end. So I'm glad that they listened to me.
And my very last note is something you've already mentioned.
Yep.
Baldwin is holding one of the babies.
He's holding Rebecca, his favorite.
And he kisses her.
I know, it's so cute. Again, I don't think it's earned in this show, but I don't fucking care. I love it so much.
Yeah, so I end with, this is the best ending ever, in all caps. Like, I seriously think this is a fantastic end. Like, they tied up all the bows, and they made the world a better place, and they're all happy, and their family is together, and Gallowglass did leave, but he left on good terms this time.
Yes.
And it's everything I wanted for all of them.
Yeah.
The only thing that's missing at this point is that Phoebe is still human. But
we know she's not going to be.
That, so, yeah. Deborah Harkness did write that book. So that's a different story than A Discovery of Witches. So that's not part of this. And so this is everything I wanted it to be. I have to tell you, when season 1 started, I was not sure that they were going to be able to do this series justice. And I think they did. They nailed it.
I think so too. Yeah, 100%. Like, we nitpick a lot, but that's because we're doing a podcast. Overall, I was so happy with all of this. And despite all the differences and the things that we laughed about and blah, 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 I still felt the emotional connection to everyone. And I think at the end of the day, that's really all you want.
Yeah. When it can make you cry, when it can make you have goosebumps just from talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, they did some magical shit here, I think, with these characters. And you know what? I think Deborah Harkness did some magical shit in writing these characters and creating these characters that we love.
We should I don't know, put that on one of her books. Deborah Harkness did some magical shit. That's our official review.
That is our official review. I love it. Yep. So, I don't know. What are we gonna do now that it's over? It's done.
I don't know.
Go watch it again, maybe?
I guess. I mean, we could. It's there now. That's nice.
Yeah.
Put it on every September because that's when it starts.
Yeah. I definitely feel like now that the show is done, I need to make space to reread the books. I know you just did, though, so maybe you don't need to, but I haven't. Since the show started, I haven't reread them. I started to, but I was reading them out loud to my husband on a road trip, and then the road trip ended, and so we just kind of never picked them back up.
Right.
So I didn't ever finish them, and I feel like now at this point, to truly appreciate everything that Deborah Harkness has given us and this world, I need to make space for the books.
Yeah, I reread them while we were recording season 2, so it was just over a year ago. So I don't quite feel ready to reread them. I know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Strange that season 2 was just over a year ago. That feels like eons ago.
It really does. I mean, it was centuries ago, so.
All right, so I guess this is the end, which is very strange. We've talked about, or Mandy and I have talked about maybe doing the books at some time in the future. If we do, we're definitely taking a break before then.
Yes.
And we're not sure about doing a big wrap up because usually in the wrap ups we talk about, what we're looking forward to, and we don't have anything to look forward to, which is really weird. But if you think we missed anything, you want us to come back, please email us at desiremaderealpod@gmail.com or tweet us at desiremadereal. And if we can put some discussion together, we will do a wrap up in 2-ish weeks.
Yes.
And until then, Mandy and I do another podcast together. You can find us at Enter the Fold if you like Shadow and Bone or other TV shows adapted by books. We have plans for more in the future.
We do.
So that would probably be the best place to keep up with us, over there or on our personal emails. I'm at Inferior Caitlin.
Our personal Twitters.
Yep. That's... No, I'm just going to leave that. That's fine.
All right. And I am, of course, Mandy Kay, and you can find this show and all of the other Eloquent Gushing shows at eloquentgushing.com. We are also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Eloquent Gushing, or you can get me personally on Twitter at Mandy Kay.
And until we meet again, remember that with every ending, there is a new beginning.